Vaheguru, 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 Vaheguru.
ਨਾਮ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਓ ਦੋਹਰਾ ਬਲ ਚੁਟਕਿਓ ਬੰਦਨ ਪਰੇ ਕਛੂ ਨ ਹੋਤੇ ਉਪਾਏ ਕਹੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਅਭਿਓਟ ਹਰ ਗਜ ਜੋ ਹੋ ਸਹਾਏ ਬਲ ਹੋਆ ਬੰਦਨ ਛੁਟੇ ਸਭ ਕਿਛ ਹੋਤੇ ਉਪਾਏ नानक सब किच तुमरे हाथ में तुम ही होत सहाय बल होआ बंधन छुटे सब किच होत उपाय नानक सब किच तुमरे हाथ में तुम ही होत सहाय। वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh. So Sangat Ji, we've just heard Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Paatshah Ji's Bani of Salok Mahalla Nauma, the dohraa, and Paatshah Ji in this dohraa of number 53 and 54, which we went through the Akhri, the literal translations in the previous video. So Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Paatshah Ji, a quick reminder, is saying in this slok that Bal chhuttkio, Bal, that I've lost my strength, bandan pare, that now I'm completely in bondage, kachhoo na ho upaae, not able to do anything, kahu naanak, Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Paatshah saying, ab ot har, but oh Vaheguru Ji, oh Hari, but now I take your support, gaj jo hohu sahaae, just like you was that sahaita, just like you was that support of the gaj. And a gaj is an elephant. And which gaj is this that Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Paatshah Ji is talking about? What elephant is this that Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Paatshah is referring to? It's not random. It's not only Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji that has used this example, but throughout Bani, at least 7 to 8 times in Guru Granth Sahib Ji, by the other Guru Sahibans as well, this example of this gaj has been used. This gaj is actually helping us to understand that state that we went through in the last previous video. At what state, at what point we actually reach before we actually surrender. And like we said previously, that it's not necessary to go through that intense suffering before we are able to actually surrender, because there are those as well. There's those bhagats, there's those devotees, there's those gursikhs, the Guru's pare, that actually the moment that they hear the Guru's words, they don't have to go through any pain or suffering, and that moment they take on what Guru Sahib Ji is saying. But there's many of us, there's those like me, until I don't find that pain, until I don't actually go through the experience of that suffering, that don't have that realization, you know what, that I actually need to surrender now. And in that way, Guru Sahib Ji has given us that example of those that live their life in that, end up living their life in that way. And until we don't learn that lesson, we'll keep going through pain, and the pain will most likely get more and more intense. So Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Paatshah says, gaj jo hohu sahaae, this is just like you helped that elephant. And what was the name of this elephant? The name of this elephant was Gajendra. And Sangat Ji, and how was it that Vaheguru Ji was the sahaita, was the support of this elephant Gajendra? Because what happened to Gajendra was that this elephant was captured by a crocodile. And how was it that when this crocodile actually got the grip and got the leg of this Gajendra, the elephant, within its mouth, and was not opening that jaw and locked that elephant in? And what was it that Gajendra was actually experiencing at that point, and how did it even get to that point? This story goes back even before that he took form as an elephant body. In his previous life as a human being, was a great devotee of Vishnu, of one of the 3 deities. And sometimes, Sangatji, don't get confused that this is about, a particular deity and being a devotee to a particular deity, because for them it's Vishnu, but really it's all about connecting to that one anyway. So let's not get caught up in the particular names that have been used. For us, we'll just take this as Vaheguru, the creator of all creators. Vishnu was this great noble king. And this great noble king, his name was Indra Dyumna. And this king, the people, everybody loved this king. But he was so noble and he was doing such a great job, this righteous king. But inside, he wanted to experience and feel that devotion and experience that creator even deeper. He had this yearning inside of his heart. So what this king did, he started to fall into meditation more and more. And this great devotee of Vishnu, he would go off and sit in huts and he would just simply sit in completely absorbed in meditation. And what happened one day was that another sage was passing this way and came to hear that this noble king, who's now started to practice a lot of meditation, that he actually resides around here in these particular huts. This is where you'll find him very often. And as this sage was actually passing through this and he had his disciples with him, he decides to go and see this king. And when he comes and he waits and waits, because this king is now completely absorbed and is just absorbed in meditation, got his eyes closed, but this sage just continues to wait. And as he's waiting, he starts to get a little bit impatient. As Satguru Ji Paatshah Ji say, how important it is to have these qualities inside of us, especially when we're holding and we're carrying a status that I am. Remember, ego translates to I am. That moment we think that I am this, and then what happens? This great whole weight comes on our head because we think, because I am this, this person should be like this. This person should be like this towards me, should give me this level of respect. And this sage comes with that same status stuck in his head. But remember, he's still done a lot of meditation. He's still done a lot of recitations of different mantras, which then is going to be possessing and holding many powers. As he comes and he waits and his patience run out, and just like Satguru Ji Paatshah say to us that Jat Pahara Teeraj Sunyar, that it's very important to have these qualities to get through life. That Jat Pahara, Jat means to have that self-control over our senses, Jat Pahara, and then Teeraj Sunyar. And Paatshah Ji says, what type of goldsmith do you need to be? And what is the quality of a goldsmith? Sunyar means a goldsmith, is Teeraj, is to have patience. But as his patience runs out, that gives birth to what? That gives birth to anger. And we'll see often in our own life, we'll be able to relate to this. When we might be driving and that moment of road rage starts to come inside of us, where does it actually come from? It's because often we're becoming impatient about something. Because we wanted to go a certain direction, somebody might cut us up, and what is it all? It's either this having this power trip, or how can that person do this, or it's this being impatient. It gives birth to krodh. ਤਾਂ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ, ਜਦੋਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਧੀਰਜ ਨਾ ਹੋਵੇ ਤਾਂ ਧੀਰਜ ਤੋਂ ਕੀ ਪੈਦਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ? ਧੀਰਜ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਕ੍ਰੋਧ ਹਰ ਵੇਲੇ ਪੈਦਾ ਹੋਊਗਾ. And when that krodh comes, and that anger came inside of this sage, and he turns around and he says, how dare you make me wait all this time? I've sat here and I actually came out of respect to see you, but you don't even open your eyes to actually receive me, another sage. And as he says this, he goes, Ja. He goes, if that's the case, then if you think you're too big and heavy in pride, because you've got all this pride of this devotion that you've got inside of you, he goes, fir ja oye, he goes, tu agle janam de vich tu kenda hathi banunga, and you'll just be roaming these streets as an elephant. He goes, oh, if that's the case, then if you think you're too heavy to get up because you're so heavy, full of pride, he goes, you'll become an elephant in your next life. And as he says this, then he's thinking inside of himself, this king, this Indra Dyumna, he's thinking that honta, he's a sage, udita vak, he's got vak siddhi. Vak siddhi means whatever you speak, it actually comes true. Just like Satguru Ji Paatshah's Bani say as well. They say Sad Bachan Atalada. They say when a sadhu is somebody that's got control over all of their indriyan, all of their senses. and that's completely conquered their mind. They says when they speak and say something, they said that actually becomes true. Just like Paatshi says, Nanak, das mukh te jo bole, iha uha sach hove. That whatever they speak comes true. He's thinking, ਹੁਣ ਤਾਂ ਜਨਮ ਧਾਰਨ ਕਰਨਾ ਪਊਗਾ. But Sangat ji, look at this, look at the power of something that's already been planted inside of you. When we talk about karam is just that. The impression that we have left that from the actions that we've been doing from the past. And that's what all, when we say that this is because of your karam, this is because this is your karma. When we say to somebody this is your karma, actually all we're saying is that this is from the imprint of the impression that has been left inside of you from your past actions that you've been doing. And those past actions could be done by thought, by speech, by action. And there's many ways of actually creating that karam. There was another, they say, a heavenly being at that time who had actually, whilst he was in devotion as well, whilst he was singing and he was completely lost in devotion, whilst he was singing, whilst he was dancing, he actually disturbed a sage whilst he was meditating by this lake. And as he disturbed this sage turned around and said, that you disturbed me from my meditation, you will now, in your next life, you'll become a crocodile and you can stay in this water for as long as you like. Now that you've come here to disturb me in these waters. So Sangat ji, these both, this king and this who was said to be just lost in love and dancing and singing in devotion of God. Because a sage said these words, they both take form. One takes form as a crocodile now, one takes form as an elephant, and this elephant is called Gajendra. As he was a king in his last life, he's brought that into this life as well. And he was in this beautiful place called Trikuta. Trikuta, tri just means three, Kuta means peaks, where there was these three beautiful peaks of mountains. And they said it was a beautiful place with beautiful fruits everywhere. And it's like this heavenly place where he actually took birth, this elephant. There's one particular lake that this elephant, this one particular day was actually walking towards. And just like he was a king in his past life, he was like the king of this Trikuti, of this area as well. And he had a following, a huge herd of elephants would actually follow Gajendra, and all the other animals would actually just fled and move out the way. And they said it would actually shake that place, that he was so strong and heavy. And one day, as he actually comes to this beautiful lake and he's seeing this beautiful clean water and starts to bathe and starts to run all that water all over his body, and there would be many lotus flowers, but inside, this Gajendra still had that karam from the past of being a devotee and still had it built inside. And if somebody else, sometimes we might see a particular animal doing something, but it might look out of character for an animal to be doing that act because we don't know where they've brought that from. This elephant, they said, would not carry out any duties in the day before he actually performed some devotion towards Vishnu, who he was a devotee of. He would pick out a lotus flower every day. But as he would pick out this lotus flower every day, and he was devoting it in devotion, when everybody's looking at this, it seems like that he's this perfect devotee. Sangaji, look at the power of karam. Sometimes we're not able to relate and link why somebody is a certain way, why we are a certain way. I've, Sangaji, been fortunate enough to meet Gurseks where they said that they were well into their adult life and they've gone to Sri Harmandir Sahib for the first time and have only heard Japji Sahib di Bani. I've mainly only heard Mool Mantar. Even Japji Sahib was heard very, very few times. But as Raira Sahib Ji's Bani is starting to be read, that they find themselves saying the words alongside and not even knowing Gurmukhi, not knowing any word of Punjabi, but just through a certain class that living in Europe, going and attending that class, was exposed to the Mool Mantar. And sometimes we think that, you know what, Sangaji, that's just random. You know, that's just, you know, somebody's just gone to a yoga class or whatever particular class. But no, It's Appe Sangat Sad Bahalle, Appe Vida Karave. It's Guru Sahib Ji themselves just still pulling them in, still reining them in, because they've been doing these things from the past. And there's this person reading alongside Rehra Sahib Ji ki Bani. I've never read it before. Why? Because it's built into them from their past lives. Just like that, built into his past life. And then what happened today when he's gone to get this lotus flower from this particular lake today, where this lake isn't, this area isn't where he would normally come. And he actually said to the rest of the herd as well, because always being very responsible, and said, you stay back, don't worry, let me go forward, let me go into this pool, let me go into this lake and get you whatever you need. If it's the water, let me test everything first, just in case there's any danger. But as today Gajendra goes into that water, the moment he puts his leg into this lake, that same crocodile that we spoke about that has come as this Janam and has taken this form, as soon as this elephant puts his foot into this water, he gets a hold of the leg of this elephant. And Gajendra, he's trying everything to move this crocodile away. And as he actually looks over to the herd, and the herd are coming over to help him, and the Gajendra is doing ishare mean giving signs to say, you keep back. And he's saying, no, don't come forward with his trunk. He's moving his trunk around to say, no, you make sure you save yourselves. I don't want you to put your life at risk because of me. And as he keeps the rest of the herd away, the Gajendra thinks this is going to be easy anyway. No problem. I'm a very powerful animal. I'll be able to throw the crocodile away with no problem. But he wasn't able to do that. The crocodile got deeper and deeper into Gajendra's leg, and his leg starts to bleed. He's ripping through his skin, and he's not able to do anything, Sangatji, to save himself. As he's failing, as this goes on for some time, and still having this pride that I'm powerful, I'll be able to do this. You know what? I'm a devotee, that I'll be helped. And all of this from that thinking that I can do everything, I am able to escape, I am a devotee, still holding that ego, still holding that identity that it's me, that it's I. And in that moment when Gajendra starts to fail and he starts to realize that actually, you know what, this crocodile is dragging me into the water and it looks like this is the end of me. But as now Gajendra starts to fail and he started to go into that water, that same thing that happened to Gajendra, what we spoke about in our previous video, that when you start to lose that har pareo swami ke dware, and then in that moment of devotion he says, you know what, actually I can't do it. That bal chhuttkio bandan pare, I've got no strength left now. Even though I was so strong, I've got no strength to save myself. Bandan bal chhuttkio bandan pare, I'm completely trapped now. I've got nowhere to go. And in that point, kahu naanak ab ot har, he's saying to God, he's saying to Vaheguru, whatever he refers to Vaheguru as whether it be Vishnu, and he says, oh Vishnu, now I need only you. I am nothing. I realize now, I held that in my head that I'm such a great devotee that even now I bring this flower for you, this lotus flower, I give to you in donation, as an offering. And as he starts to take away that I am the greatest devotee with that pride, as the pride starts to crumble and break and he starts to cry out, that moment they say Vishnu took on a form, and then with his chakkar, he took his chakkar out, and with that chakkar he spun it across and took off the head of that crocodile at once. And then Gajendra at that moment escaped and had freedom and felt. And that moment, then Vishnu Ji said that, you know what, Gajendra, you are my devotee. You was a human in your last life. You was this king whose name was Indra Dyumna, and you was a great noble king that actually devoted your life to me. And he gave that crocodile the realization as well who the crocodile is. He says, I want to thank you because you became the reason that actually helped him to break that last bit of pride he had left. And once that pride breaks, once we go to that level and realize that actually I've got to get rid of this I, then Pathji say Bal hua, then we'll learn what life actually means and how to live. Until we're living like that, then we're not living. Then we'll actually have strength. Bal hoa bandan chhuttkio. Then we'll have strength, meaning then we'll actually be able to do what we want to do in life. Then we'll actually have bal to speak the truth. Then bal will have strength to actually speak sweetly. But because before, everything is tainted from those kaam, krodh, lobh, moh, hankar. It all comes, whatever I'm doing, it comes from fear. Whatever I'm doing, it's coming from that dark place. But now it's not coming from that dark place. Now it's not tainted with jealousy, irka, looking down at others, thinking I'm better than you. But now I've got bal. Now I've got strength. Now I'm coming from a sweet place. Now I'm coming from a truthful place. Now I'm coming from a compassionate place. To be able to experience compassion and share that compassion means that now I've got strength, because compassion is strength. When I've got nimarta, when I've got humility, when I've got that humbleness inside of me to lower myself and see myself to be the dust and the servant of everyone, that's what it means to actually have strength. Bal hoa. Because now those are Vaheguru Ji's qualities coming through. Bal hoa bandan chhuttkio. I've escaped, because that now nindya, when I'm sitting down, I'm not actually taken down by nindya anymore. I'm able to remain conscious and not dwell into those conversations. I've got strength now to actually move myself away and actually say, you know what, all I want to do is praise Vaheguru Ji. Bal hoa bandan chhuttkio. Sab kich hote upaae. Now I'm able to do everything. Now I'm able to live my life full of qualities. Now I can say that I am living. Now I can actually say I'm able to do everything. Before I wasn't doing anything. Living a life of jealousy, living a life of anger actually means I'm not doing anything in my life. My whole life is a complete waste. But now I'm actually experiencing life for what it actually is. Now life has become a dance for me. Life has become beautiful for me. Bal hoa bandan chhuttkio. Sab kich hote upaae. Nanak sab kich tumre haath mein. And the truth is, oh Vaheguru Ji, everything is in your hands. That it doesn't matter how much I thought I could escape. It doesn't matter how much I thought that, you know what, I can do this journey. But it truly is, Vaheguru Ji, in your hands. And only then, when I come to that point of surrender, that I realize that, you know what, I need you to take over. And how are we able to do that? We give ourselves to Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatshah Ji, and Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatshah Ji will actually show us that way, show us that path of how to break away from these bondages. That Nanak sab kich tumre haath mein, tum hi hot sahaae. That you, Vaheguru Ji, that you have now become my sahayata, become my support. Because the truth is, sometimes we look for support from so many directions. We look for support from so many different people. But the truth is that finding that direction and support from inside, when we make that connection to Vaheguru Ji, that's the only time we're going to feel fulfilled. So Sangat Ji, if we look at this deeper, what did everything actually signify? What was that water? What is that water? The water is this life that we are all going through, that we all get stuck in. And Sangat Ji, what is that crocodile? That crocodile is that death that is hovering over our head. And we sometimes get so caught up in this life, in the mud and in the attachment, that we start to get pulled down. And that death is eating away at us and it's pulling us in more and more. So Sangat Ji, what does all this actually signify? What was that water? What was the elephant? What was the crocodile? What is it that is actually playing out here? What's actually going on? Sadhguru Ji Paatshah Ji Bani tells us about this very story and what everything actually signifies. And Sadhguru Ji says that Maya fans band baho bande. And what that means is that fans means the news, that the Maya has got us in this news. And who was it that put the elephant into that news? Was the crocodile. So the crocodile actually represents Maya. Remember, Maya is that. E Maya jit har visare, that illusion that takes us away from the truth and takes us away from Vaheguru Ji. So Paat Ji is saying that Maya fans band bahu bande. It actually puts us in this bondage and keeps us trapped, and we're just taken away and led away with these little pleasures of life. And today we're getting caught up in all sorts. We get excited. Yeah, even though these things might be, convenience, like having like these fancy doorbells that can show you videos and whatever. But yes, there can be convenience behind them, can stop robberies from taking place. But sometimes it can take our mind away as well from the truth. We just get caught up in that, constantly checking this. It's just another thing to check, another thing to check. When sometimes convenience goes to another level and then actually has got a grip of us. So that's just one little example. You can, Sangatji, take that. You can find something for yourself to relate yourself to. There's been tons of examples throughout the Salok Mahalla Nova that you can relate to. So, Maharaj saying that Maya fans band bahu bande. This says then that crocodile is the Maya that is trapping us. And that water, Sangatji, is this life that we all got to live in this life. We all need that water to nourish ourselves, as that elephant does as well. It needs to drink that water, it needs to bathe from that water. But if that water starts to just pull us in, that elephant could drown in that water. Maya fans band bahu bande. But Sadhguru Ji says that this is har japio. This is the only way to escape from that is har japio. And har japio, to recite God's name, that's what we're going to look at in a lot more detail in the next sloks, in the next videos, because that's what it's all about. Kin japio gur mantra is taking the Guru's mantra, who's actually reciting the Guru's mantra. That har japio, Sadhguru Ji Paat Ji saying that then khul khulne, and then khul means when something opens. Why is it said twice khul khulne? When something completely opens. And we can only escape from this when we've got that Haris, that God's name inside of us. Then all this will completely open this bondage that we're in. Then the Sadhguru Ji reminds us of this example of the elephant again in this pankti, in this shabad. Then this is that jo jal kunchar taduve bandyo. This is just like jo jal. Jal is the water. Jo jal, within the water, jo jal. Kunchar is the elephant here. Over there Maharaj used the word gaj. Over here they're using the word kunchar. Same thing. Kunchar taduve is the crocodile. Jo jal kunchar taduve bandyo. Bandyo means to trap, just like that crocodile, meaning the Maya trapped the elephant. The elephant being us. That's Jeev Atma from inside. When we trying to escape, we know we're suffering, we're trying to cry out for help constantly. Jo jal kunchar taduve bandyo har chetyo. Paat is but remembering chetyo, but being conscious of God constantly. Har chetyo. Paat then says that mokh mukhne. Then we have mukhne meaning that escape. Mokh means that one that is completely liberated will liberate us as well. Vaheguru Ji is free. Only connecting to that Vaheguru Ji that is free, then we can become free as well. But that connection, how to make that connection with Vaheguru Ji, we'll look at in the next few slok that Sadhguru Ji Paat Ji will bless us with Sri Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj Ji. So, itniyak bentiya pravan, ek nahi par anek hi galtiyan ho gayiyan han. Anjaan bachcha samjh ke bakhsh dena. Vaheguru Ji ka khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki fateh.
If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, share and subscribe. Please donate and help spread Guruji's message. Link is in the description below. Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh.